Welcome everyone to our 2019 educational program sponsored by the PCMA Southeast Chapter. We want to thank Shepard AV. We are live streaming this program today. So thank you to Shepard AV for live streaming, and hello and welcome to all those watching us from another location. Secondly, I want to thank everyone who brought things or participated in our school supply drive. All of those supplies are being donated to the Teachers Supply Storehouse, which is in Cobb County. So thank you to all those that participated and helped us. The thank you cards are going to be handed to the teachers and given out at Cobb County's first open house in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Chris. I also want to take a moment just to thank our programming committee for putting this amazing event together. Michelle is over here. She tells us what to do, and she's saying eat. So if you haven't started eating, please start eating, because we are going to have an interactive session today, and we're going to try not to be disturbing you while you're working shortly here. Now I'd like to take a second and just thank our host, which is, it's Piedmont Park and this beautiful hall that we are all in here today. So I'd like to call up Jane Rollo, and she's our host sponsor for today, so thank you.
I don't think I need that. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Piedmont Park. I always like to ask how many people have been to the park before? How many are daily park users? How many have never been here before? Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody. If you've been here before or you've never been here before, you might not know the role of the Conservancy. We are celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. We maintain about 90% of the park on a daily basis, and we rely heavily on corporate donations, individual donations, membership, programming, and facility rentals. We have to raise over $3 million a year just to maintain the park on a daily basis. We have 4 fabulous venues that you can rent for meetings, for holiday parties, for company picnics. We've got the dockside that was built in 1911. You may know it as the old boathouse or the Women's Comfort Station, way back in the day, whatever that means. We have Greystone, which is our largest venue. We can accommodate up to about 300 guests inside there. That was built in 1926, and you may know it as the old bathhouse, but it was a locker room, basically, for people to change into their bathing suits and go swimming in the lake, believe it or not. And we renovated that and turned it into a private event space back in 2008. We're sitting in Magnolia Hall, which was built in 1945, and originally it was stables for the City of Atlanta police horses. So the fireplace back there is original to the building. It still works, so it's a nice little feature to this facility. It's close to the parking garage. It's a great little venue for meetings, as you can see. And then our newest venue is the Promenade, which is an open green space, which is up the hill this way. It's an open, grassy area. It's great for company picnics, for brand activations, for movie nights, company movie nights. It's just a great space. You can, host a variety of events there. Let's see, what else? I do have a video to show y'all so you can see how your funds can impact the park in a big way. It's just a short video, but as little as $250 can supply doggy bags for a month. So it's just, we appreciate all of the support. We appreciate your rentals. We'd love to be the host location of your next meeting. I do have a new corporate sales manager, Leslie Dickinson. She's been with us 2 weeks. So we'll be happy to help with any information. We have a table in the back. Also, don't forget, drop your business card in our bowl for a chance to win 50% off a rental at one of our venues, Monday through Thursday. So make sure to drop your business card in the back. Thank you, and we're ready for the video.
Awesome. Thank you, Piedmont Park. Thank you for hosting us today. Absolutely beautiful venue, so I think we'll all enjoy it. Also, we want to thank some of our other sponsors. Carlisle's Catering is the group that's providing all the food and beverage for today's event, so thank you. Jack Parada Photography is taking care of all of our photos and the photography that you will see on our website and throughout the meeting today. And then finally, Shepard is the platinum sponsor for this year. And we brought in a friend and colleague of mine, Corey Smith, to tell you a couple things that are going on with us at Shepard.
Thank you very much. Kevin has given me initially 5 minutes to speak, and we cut it down to 3. So at some point there may be a hook pulled out, and he may yank me off stage. But we appreciate the opportunity to be here and to be a part of PCMA. Kevin has asked me to come in to talk about one of our new services that we're offering at Shepard. It's a strategy and design division. And strategy and design division's been around for about a year now. And when we started, the goal was to help you and other clients with areas of their business where they're struggling. Event technology was a big topic. Creating more immersive experiences was something that continually came up. And the culture of Shepard is to help. And Carl and Steve, our executive leadership team, gave one charge. It was, we want you to come in, we want you to help our clients through some of the challenges that they're having in these areas. So LiveX is an experience design and strategy team. We have 3 members who have backgrounds from, my background is in business media and event production, much like many of you. 25 years working on the for-profit side. We have 2 members that are strategists that have spent a couple of years, or many years, 20 plus, doing more corporate and live experience design. So I'm just going to go through and explain the process. We start with learning you and your business, becoming more of a strategic partner so that we can help you through some of the goals and objectives that we define as we go through. Experience mapping, success framework. We help with doing MarTech and event tech audits so that you're investing in things that have a purpose, that have a role. And then data. Usually when we talk about data, people want to roll out a beer cart or they glaze over. So we'll talk briefly about what we do with data to help you be more productive. This is defining, clear goals and objectives. We want to make sure if you're investing in technology or if we recommend something that we're able to help you implement it successfully and have clear metrics for measuring whether or not it's successful. And understanding where the data is, to help you determine if you're successful with one of these initiatives. It could be improving attendee retention or growing audience. And then designing, when we get together, define what you're trying to accomplish in terms of rolling out new experiences. This is an example of some of the work that we've brought to clients. And measurement is, a big part of what we do. We want to make sure that there's continuous improvement. We've got the right data that tells the story that helps you understand where you are every step of the way. So we have a data and analytics platform. A big problem that we see with a lot of our clients is data lives in many different sources. We help you pull it together. We help you visualize it, and we help you use that information to be more informed with decisions or positioning of your event overall. And this is continuous improvement. Something else we do is event audits. We come in, we ask your customers, how their experience has been. We observe. We have a consumer behaviorist that comes in and looks at some of the new features that you may introduce at an event and how people are reacting with those things. And that leads to, a continuous virtuous cycle of planning and strategy and improvement. We do survey design, we do registration design, and then we evaluate everything and we start the process all over again. So we'd love if anybody is interested in LiveX. I'll be available after the event and throughout. And thank you for being here, and I appreciate the opportunity to tell you more about LiveX.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate it. Corey's one of the very few male salespeople at Shepard that actually has hair. So he was a welcomed addition to our team. We'd like to also reach out to all of you. I don't know if anyone's noticed this year, but our communications committee has really stepped up to the plate, and we're trying to pump a lot more social media content out to you and try to engage with you further. And one of the requests that committee has had is for all of you to submit your stories to us so that we can profile you on, not profile you, highlight you, so we can highlight you on our social media site and tell your story a little bit to the rest of your to the rest of the PCMA Southeast community. So no, we won't profile you, but we would like to highlight you. So send your information into us on our website, and we'll get it out there. We'll tell your story for you. On the table, there is a couple of voting forms that I'd really love for you to fill out if you're a member of PCMA and if you haven't voted yet. We are trying to add another board of director position for next year. And what we're trying to do is split our program committee into two parts. One of those parts is going to be the group that takes care of all the educational content, and then the other committee chair would be more or less the person that goes out and finds the venue and coordinates all the food. Over the past few years, we've had some amazing committee chairs that have bared the burden more or less of managing all these programs for us, and we're just trying to add further depth to our team. So we're 9 votes short, and if we can get that vote today, we would be able to implement this for next year. So if you haven't done it already, please do for us. And now I'd like to call up Brenda Dempsey from the Nashville Convention and Visitors Bureau. She's gonna give away our Volunteer of the Quarter because Nashville graciously sponsors that for us.
Thank you. And Nashville is very excited to continue our sponsorship for that, and we'll do so for next year too, if somebody will send me an invoice. Well, our Volunteer of the Quarter, for this quarter, each of the volunteers are asked some questions about what makes them want to volunteer, what do they get out of it, and so here's what our recipient had to say about some of those things. What inspires her most about volunteering? She likes getting behind the scenes to see how things come together within the organization and events, and even more so, the membership and getting to know the people. And what would she tell other PCMA members about the reason that they should get involved? She says it really helps you get to know people, and I can attest to that is true, and it's how you get the most out of your membership for yourself and for your organization, and it's how you have the most fun. Our Volunteer of the Quarter for this quarter is Ms. Carla Thomas Carroll, Vice President, our Director of Global Sales for Salamander Hotels and Resorts, and the dress to beat all dresses at the Phoenix Awards. So congratulations, sweetie.
Gosh, that's so amazing. Thank you guys so much. I'm always thinking that I don't help Michelle enough. I'm like, Michelle, like, what can I do? So thank you. I love this organization, and I love the people. So.
Well, and while that's a fabulous plaque, there's a gift card on the back that's even a lot more fun.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Brenda.
I'm sorry. The elections? Oh, yes, I'll hit that. Could I have my
Did I take
run
yours?
back? That second one.
Sorry.
That's okay, thank you. Also, the other reminder we'd like to make to all of you or ask you is if you are interested in serving on the board of directors, we have the application process opened right now, and it closes September 1st. Some of the things that the board is really hoping for in this next cycle is to get some more meeting planners on our board, because the couple that are cycling off, it would leave our board mostly corporate folks. And not corporate planners, but suppliers. So we're really hoping that some of our meeting planners that are here today will consider applying for those open positions we have, and we'd welcome you to do so. But like I said, it closes September 1st, so if you could get it in, we would really appreciate it. Lunch, we're going to be starting lunch in a minute, but Joanne is our speaker today, and I love her approach. She hates formal introductions. So I'm going to welcome you and turn the mic over to you and thank you in advance. So welcome, Joanne.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Are you coming to tell me something? I just want my chocolate cake. I don't care about, I ate a little salad. Somebody is watching my chocolate cake, okay? I don't care about anything else.
I specifically asked for the chocolate cake as well. So
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
If you want to just give everybody like 10 or 15 minutes to eat.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, just don't mess with my cake. So, Michelle said I should give you 10 to 15 minutes to eat right now, and then I'll start my presentation. But I'm still saving my cake for after, okay? You said you can't save your cake? I love that attitude. We're going to get started with a topic that that's near and dear to my heart. It's appreciative inquiry. Stop playing with the lights. Who is that? Cut that out. It's a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to tell you why it matters so much to me. Because of the change that it creates in organizations and in individuals. Because of its power to create something positive. Let me tell you what you have on your tables. You have a handout that's kind of our loose guide, and you also have an article on using appreciative inquiry as a strategic planning tool, which is going to be a piece of our focus for our time together today. So, we've got three sort of objectives that we're going to work with, but in talking to people before we started, I decided that I'm going to modify what I intended to do. So, those will be loose objectives, but we're going to do some things a little bit differently. So what are they? We're going to be able to apply the 5 generic processes associated with AI to sustainable change. We're also going to use David Cooperrider's classic 4Ds, and I've decided that we're going to start from there, okay? We're going to give voice to stakeholders and learn how to do that so that they are included in strategic planning and in change processes. And we're going to spend some time figuring out how to develop solutions generated by people throughout the organization. So those are the loose outcomes that we're going to be playing with. I want to talk about the theory, then we're going to talk about the practice very briefly, and we're going to get to applications. So here are the theories of appreciative inquiry. There was a guy by the name of David Cooperrider, who was a student at Case Western up in Ohio. And he was studying with Suresh Srivastava. And I'm sure I just murdered his name, but God rest his soul, he can't get me. And he was studying what was going on at the Cleveland Clinic, typical doctoral studies, okay? But what he found was that there were pockets of the Cleveland Clinic that had higher cure rates, higher patient satisfaction rates, higher family satisfaction rates, and higher employee satisfaction rates. So he went back to Srivastava and said, I'm really more interested in that. I'm really more interested in how is it some places, some parts of the same organization are getting a different or creating a different experience. So Srivastava says, sure, but you have to root it in something theoretically. You can't just be studying something arbitrarily. There has to be a strong theoretical root. So here's what he came up with, 2 things. One is social constructionism, okay? So what is social constructionism? It's simply this, that language is not just the way we describe things, but instead, language is our most powerful tool for creation, okay? Our most powerful tool for creation. So it's not just that I'm describing what happened. In fact, I'm recreating what happened when I tell a story, recreating it. And then the second of the theories is something called heliotropism. And that is borrowed from the natural sciences. And what that says is simply this: all living things, all living systems, all living organisms gravitate toward that which gives them life. So when we think about how this applies in organizations, people gravitate towards the managers who are affirming. People gravitate towards the leaders who make them feel good, who make them feel inspired, who make them feel like there's a purpose. When we think about it in our own lives and our own practice of leadership, the question is, am I heliotropic? Do I draw people to me, or do I repel people away? I was telling Mrs. Rollo here, what's your first name? Jane. We were talking about a friend that I have. Now we're taping this, I'm sorry, I hope she never watches it. But a friend that I have who left Buffalo, where I grew up, because she was sick of Buffalo, and came to Atlanta. She stayed here maybe 8 years, hated Atlanta, came back to Buffalo, and guess what? She hates Buffalo again. And in none of these places was she able to make friends or make connections. And the gift that my mother gave me was this: look at the common denominator. So if the common denominator is not heliotropic, how can we have those kinds of experiences? So we're getting ready to actually do something now that will give you the opportunity to apply one of the principles and one of the practices of appreciative inquiry. Now, let me just tell you a little bit else, something else about AI. It requires a keen degree of focus, of focused attention. So what that means is that I'm going to ask you to divorce yourself from your digital distractions. Does everybody know what an ADD is? It's an attention distracting device. And I'd like to ask you to stop texting, stop tweeting, unless you're tweeting to tell the single men that I'm available. Take a good picture of me from the side. That's heliotropic, okay? So we're going to do something that will require your focus, your focused attention. Everybody should have something that you can write on at your table, and I hope you have something you can write with. There are these neat little books that were provided by the Park Conservancy, and we're going to use them. Here is what I'm going to ask you to first reflect on and then jot down. I want you to think about a moment of excellence in your life. A moment of excellence. This is a time when I really rocked, okay? I was kicking tail and taking names, okay? I want you to write the details of it down, what happened, how you felt, the whole experience. Just jot it down, okay? Reflect on it, think about it, and then jot it down. All right, now, if I can count right, and I'm not saying I can, I counted 40 people, which means that we have an even number, which is perfect. I'd like for you to stand up, please. Take your moment of excellence with you. Everybody up? All right, so the first thing I'd like for you to do is to find a partner who was not at your table. Second thing I want you to do is you two sit down together somewhere quickly. Partner not at your table, sit down together somewhere quickly. There's space right there if you want to go there. Do you have a partner, Corey? Okay. Oh, good. All right. There's 2 chairs right there, right over at that table. Oh, that's okay. No one cares now. It's okay. All right. Now here's what I'd like for you to do. Everybody got a partner, got a table? I love it. You guys have the drinks table. I feel like we should be serving you cocktails back there. What you are going to do is this. You are going to take turns sharing your moment of excellence, okay? Now, when your partner is sharing their moment of excellence, I want you to practice something. Be quiet and listen. Don't say, oh, that happened to me too. Oh my goodness. Just practice being quiet and listening, okay? So go ahead and get started. When the first person finishes, the second person starts. All right, has everyone had the opportunity to finish? Everybody finished? Almost finished. Hurry up and finish. All right, so I've got some questions for you. The first question is, when you were reflecting on the moment of excellence, what were some of the feelings that you had? You were excited, excitement. What were some of the other feelings? Somebody said pride. Somebody said uncomfortable. What else? Happiness. Somebody else. Somebody else. And then when you were hearing other people's moments of excellence, what were your feelings? You were happy for them? Less uncomfortable. Oh dear. You felt, somebody said encouragement. Who said that? Thank you. Encouragement. What else? What's that? Ooh. Wow, that's exciting. Somebody else said something I didn't quite capture. Encouraging. Envious. So here's the deal. When we choose our focus and choose to, are you getting me good? All right. So he's promised 10 years younger, 10 pounds lighter. Every photograph, okay? That's our commitment. When we choose to focus on what we've done well or what an organization has done well, we change the energy. We change the energy in the room. We change the energy in ourselves. So as we begin to think about how do we use appreciative inquiry as a strategic planning process, the first step is in changing the energy that we bring. In getting comfortable, finding the things that have gone right. How many of us can, on a dime, list everything that went wrong this morning? On a dime, we can list everything. So what appreciative inquiry teaches us is to change our focus, to have a directed focus on what has gone well, and then exploring that and leveraging it. So now, we've done it for the self, and I'm a big believer that any change that we want to see in an organization starts with the self. It doesn't start out here, it starts in here. So now, on your handout, you have an opportunity to jot down 3 moments of excellence for your organization. And I'd just like for you to take a quick second to jot down 3 moments of excellence for your organization. And if you don't have a handout in front of you, just pull one from whichever table you're at. Very quickly, 3 moments of excellence for your organization. Recent stuff. If you have to dig way back, we got a problem. Recent. All right. So the first thing I want to do is to hear some of the moments of excellence for your organizations, and then we're going to talk about the outcomes. So anybody, shout them out. Moments of excellence for your organization.
Receiving 5-star Forbes Award for one of our companies.
Woohoo! All right. That's the salamander, in case you didn't know. Yes,
I'll share, and mine's a two-part kind of thing.
that's fine.
Our sales team for our year ended at the end of July, and we had our stretch goal of 2.5 million room nights that year.
So you hit your stretch goal.
Hit our stretch goal.
Uh-huh.
But because of that, every single staff member in the entire organization got a bonus. So it was all up to the sales team because we depend upon all those other people to help us reach our sales goal.
So you created bonuses for an entire organization. Awesome. Somebody else. Yes.
So Mercedes-Benz Stadium hosted the Super Bowl this year, and we were also voted best sports venue in the world.
In the world. I love it. What's that city again?
Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Falcon Stadium here.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Somebody else. Yes.
We are opening a brand new restaurant to Legacy Ventures called Los Focus, and seeing the progress and progression of it coming from Little Caesar downtown and turning into this beautiful X-Max occasion concept is just really exciting.
That is so cool. Food. We love it. Uh-huh. Somebody else. A moment of excellence for your organization. Corey?
Boy, you put me on the spot. The moment when Shepard transitioned to a company, an employee-owned organization where he's
So when you became an ESOP, yeah. So what were some of the outcomes? We heard an outcome from Brenda in that everybody got bonuses, but what were some of the outcomes of the moments of excellence that you cited? Yes.
So, Long Beach was voted best in the West for a lot of the work that we've done to bring people into the city, competing against other cities, and bringing folks in to realize what a gem it is.
Okay. Okay. So getting voted best in the West raised your stature and brought more people to Long Beach, which probably positively impacted the economy. Uh-huh. Yeah. Somebody else. Yes.
It resulted in the outcome was, I think, more commitment from employees, growth. We've launched new divisions, acquired new companies.
So growth, more commitment from employees. What about the sense of morale? Do you think that increased?
I think so. He's been there since this happened. Yeah.
What do you think? Is he on target?
I think we'll be able to retire a little earlier.
Somebody had a hand up back here while I was bothering them. Did I miss a hand? Yes.
So winning the award just made everyone very proud to work where we worked, and it reinstilled sort of invigoration and to be proud of where you work and the organization that we all represent.
Right. So when we begin to switch our focus, the other thing, in addition to changing the energy, we begin to identify outcomes. Outcomes that are positive and outcomes that can be sustained if we continue to focus on them. Let me tell you what you've just done. You've just done the first D in Appreciative Inquiry. So that is, and this is on the 3rd page of your handout, so I'm off the ranch a little bit. I told you that I got inspired to do this a little differently, so we're going to move around differently. That is discovery. This is when we thoughtfully and systematically discover the best of what is in our organization. Thoughtfully and systematically, when we bring groups of people together to identify moments of excellence. When we understand that our strategy needs to be rooted in what's right, not in what's wrong. So Cooper Ryder says something that I think is really important. He says, the questions that we ask are fateful. The questions that we ask determine where we're going to go strategically. So if all you're asking about is how can we correct the deficiencies in the sales team in this market, what you're really going to get is not the correction, but a deeper examination of deficiency. But when you can look at that success of reaching and exceeding a stretch goal and see what that got you and then dissect how you did it, that is when we have a more positive, more sustainable strategy for an organization. So what you've just done is the first D, an abbreviated version of it, which is discovery. Now, there are actually a couple of models of appreciative inquiry, and we're playing with two at the same time. So that's the 4D model, but if you turn this way in your handout, you'll, no, don't turn that way. That's the wrong way. Turn to the last page. What you're going to see are 5 generic processes, which is another way to use appreciative inquiry. So we've just done the first of the generic processes, which is when we choose the positive as the focus of inquiry. Choose the positive. And all of this takes us back to the power of language, okay? It really takes us back to what is the language that we are using, and do we understand that language is a very powerful means of creation? Do we understand the power of encouraging language? And then how do we use it to advance strategy in the organization? How do we use it to advance our personal strategy? I want to just tell you a little story about language. Last summer, last July, I started working with a personal trainer. I've always been, for years and years, somebody who did cardio, but I just did cardio. Like I did an hour a day, 5 days a week on the same piece of equipment. Okay, I like the bike. And that was it. But I decided last summer, don't ask me why, that I was going to challenge myself and work out with a trainer. My trainer, I call him Little Torture Boy. So after about 6 months with the trainer, the other thing that happened was that something happened with this knee and this foot where they just weren't cooperating. So I started going to a chiropractor. And at the chiropractor, you know, you do all these crazy exercises. But one of the exercises we did is a side plank. And I was like, I didn't think I could do a plank. And after doing it a few times at the chiropractor and realizing I really could do it, I said, well, while I'm safe in here, can we try a regular plank? Because I figured if I break something, I'm at the right place. If my feet give out, I'm at the right place. They'll be able to correct me quickly. So they were like, sure, you could try a plank. So I tried it and I could do it. So when I went back to the gym and I saw a Little Torture Boy, I said, you're not going to believe this, but I did a plank at the chiropractor's, and we had been doing these silly little modified planks. And he says, well, if you could do it there, you can do it here. Well, when he says this to me, there's another guy on the mat, and he's like, I mean, I've been exercising for a long time. Planks are hard. And Rudy rolls his eyes at him and says, Joanne, get in position. You're going to do a plank. So I was like, oh, my Lord, I might die here. But I did it, and I held it for a whole minute. And I know, was that amazing or what? And so then I said to Rudy, how long is it going to take me to hold a 2-minute plank? The guy says, I've been exercising a long time and I can't do a 2-minute plank. Rudy looks at him and looks at me and says louder, you'll be doing a 2-minute plank inside the next 3 months. And I'm like, I will? Okay. So keep practicing them. And in 2 weeks, I did 1 minute and 48 seconds. And that guy wasn't there for me to give him the finger. However, in my mind, I was thinking about him and how that language can sabotage us. So when we think about language in an organization, the question is, am I using my voice to be affirming and to further strategy in this organization? Or am I one of the people who is doubtful and who is a naysayer? But it goes a little bit deeper than that. For years, I really did think I couldn't do a plank. I was talking to you about my bad feet. Well, part of the reason I thought I couldn't do a plank was because in yoga, when I'm barefoot, I can't because of the bunion on the right foot that I was telling you about. But in the gym, you have on these sneakers. So it protects the bunion on the right foot and everything else. I never made that connection because for so long, I said I couldn't do it. What are the things that you're saying can't be done in your organization? What are the things that you have told yourself couldn't happen in your organization? You've got to change that language and change that thinking to recognize what can be done. And the way that we do that is through the discovery process, by looking at the areas where we really rock, by understanding the areas where we're superior, we're great, and by not being uncomfortable with that. Because sometimes we get uncomfortable celebrating ourselves and celebrating our successes. We've got to move past that and recognize the fact that we all have something to celebrate. The other reason that we have to move past that is because if I can't celebrate me, I can't fully celebrate Corey or Kevin or Mike or anyone else. So what we're doing in here reflects outward. And it's really important when we begin thinking about and doing the work on strategy that we have the right focus and that it's an upward focus, not looking back to be corrective. So I want to move on just a little bit. I should have told you, at any point you can interrupt me with questions. You can't just interrupt me with nonsense, but you can interrupt me with questions. So I want to move on just a little bit to the second piece. God bless you. And the second piece, because we're a little short on time because of starting a little bit later, we won't have the opportunity to do it, but I want to tell you how to do it, okay? The second piece is the dreaming stage. This is when we begin to envision new possibilities. New possibilities for ourselves and for our organizations, where we begin to think about what in the world could I possibly create? What could I create? So let's say that you've decided that you're going to take these principles back to your organization and you want to do the dreaming work. This is my favorite way of doing it, is to bring the group of people in your department or your division together and I use postcards. Some people use magazines, but to ask them to make collages of what they dream for the organization. So they can cut pictures out of magazines, they can use, I just happen to like postcards, they can put together postcards, but to get each person to do a visual depiction of the dream that they hold for the organization, for your department or for your division, and then ask them to talk about that, to really talk about that and to put language around that. You don't have to take pictures of the slides, I'll just send them to you, don't worry. Oh, of me, oh. And anybody who wants the slides, do you mind? Okay, Michelle's happy to share them with you. So it really gives people a chance to think about the future in a different way, to be able to own their dream, to think about it, and to share it with other people. And that process of sharing is really important because what you're going to find is that there are common denominators in the dream. There are common things that people hold inside of them that they want for the organization. And you're going to take those common themes and put them together, and that's where you're going to start launching a formal strategy around the common denominators in the dream. So I want to ask you to take just 3-4 seconds and jot down a dream that you have for your organization. A dream. Somebody shout out your dream. Anybody, what's your dream for your organization? Yes? Well, I am my organization, TEDx Talk. A TEDx Talk, how cool is that? How cool is that? Do you know, have you ever read Doug Stevenson's Story Theater newsletter? You got to read Doug Stevenson's Story Theater newsletter because he has all of this advice on doing a TED Talk, getting invited to do a TED Talk. So Doug Stevenson's Story Theater newsletter. Somebody else, what's the dream for your organization? What's the dream? Yes.
Cross-divisional cohesiveness and success.
I couldn't hear you.
Cross-divisional cohesiveness and success.
Cross-divisional cohesiveness and success. Somebody else, what's the dream? What does the dream look like for you and for your organization? Yes, you're looking right at me, great eye contact. Tell me your dream. No, it's you, sir, it's you. So hosting something big in Louisville.
Yes, we're known for Derby and things like that, but I was saying something out of the box.
Okay, thank you. Somebody else, what's the dream? What's the dream? What is the dream that you have? Yeah, Van?
Well, mine is to be able to go out quickly from an RFP to the customer.
So quick turnaround between the RFP and the customer, yeah. So these dreams are things that we have to go back in the organization and talk about, and then begin hearing other people's dreams. But in order for us to use a dream as a linchpin or a starting point for strategy, you gotta have one. You really have to have one. And you have to hold it dear enough and think it important enough to raise it for discussion in the organization. To have the courage to champion your dream. Think about how many things we wish we had done, we wish we could do, that we never attempt because of fear, because of insecurity. So this dreaming process asks us to move beyond that, asks us to move into the realm of directed action, okay? So that's the dream stage in a nutshell. And the article that you have explains these in much more detail, okay? But that's the dream stage in a nutshell. So what happens after that? Well, because you can't leave it at just a dream. You gotta put some feet under that dream. You gotta put some flesh on that dream. And this is when we decide to get together to co-create. We decide to get together to co-create. So we create a shared dream or a shared vision, and then we move to the design stage. And this is where we begin to think about what are the action steps that need to happen to make the dream come true. And you're going to take a minute and jot down 3 action steps that need to happen to make the dream come true, real quickly. 3 action steps that need to happen to make the dream come true. Because the dream can't just be our fantasy. So here's what I'd like for you to do. I'd like for you to share your action steps with your partner, okay? And then get their ideas for something more that you could do, okay? So the first piece is to share, and then the second piece is their ideas, okay? And you've got about, 2 minutes. All right, your time's up. Your time's up. Time is officially up. So I have a question for you. Did you get ideas from your partner that you hadn't considered? How many of you got ideas that you hadn't considered? You're shaking your head yes, you're shaking your head yes. That's why we invest the energy in the dialogue. Because if you look at the design stage where we take our dream into reality, what it requires is dialogue, where we talk to people throughout the organization, where we get comfortable hearing other perspectives. Because often we get stuck in a rut and think that our way is the way, when in fact it's not. When in fact there are multiple roads to Zion, okay? Multiple roads to Zion. Yes! Oh, you're giving me my warning to wrap it up. Oh, man. Thank you. What she just said is, lady, wrap it up and tie it with a bow, okay? So the dialogue piece is really important. Getting comfortable, sharing an idea, bouncing it off people, and then getting their insights on it. That's how we begin to grow good strategy. When strategy is built on high by a few executives and a consultant, that's usually where it stays. It doesn't get into the troops. It doesn't change behaviors in an organization. It doesn't rally us around a particular cause. And again, what it requires is a high degree of focus. Because when we're doing strategy work, we can't be playing on our digital devices. We actually have to be connecting with one another. We actually have to be respectful enough to hear Kelsey out, to understand her perspective. We've got to make those human connections and not to get distracted or dissuade. So, as we begin to think about how in the world can I apply this in my life and in my world, it's really about the level of dialogue that we're creating. The level of comfort I have in hearing what Terry thinks. The level of comfort I have in trying an approach that Mike suggests. The level of comfort that I have in creating a strategy that is inclusive. And that's one of the things that I like the most about using AI, is that it creates inclusive strategy. And we all know this. If I have had a hand in creating something, I'm going to support it. If that strategy reflects something that I believe strongly in and it reflects my dream for the organization, not only am I going to support it, but I am going to engage other people in the process of supporting it. So as we move to the last of the D's, it's destiny. And it asks us, what are we going to create? Are we going to create the dream strategy that we have for the organization? Are we going to focus in enough to make that dream come to life? To do thoughtful, inclusive design that reaches out to people throughout the organization and makes the dream real? Are we going to take the time to really focus on one another as human beings and to hear from one another and create something different for the organization? So you've been through the 4 Ds, and they run a good parallel to the 5 generic processes. Either way you decide to go, here's the commonality. It asks us to look at what has gone right, whether you use the 4 Ds or the 5 generic processes, to build on what has gone right, to draw multiple voices into the process, to create a strategy that has meaning to the masses, that is not just meaningful to the most senior person in the organization, and then to own responsibility, individual responsibility for making the strategy come to life. Ultimately, what Appreciative Inquiry teaches us is this: no one of us is as smart as all of us. And in order for us to create strategy that has meaning, we've got to include absolutely, positively everyone. I hope that you have had as much fun as I have. Thank you for inviting me to spend this time with you. I also hope that you will find one piece today, take it and use the heck out of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Just out of curiosity, how many salespeople are in the room? There's quite a few of us, and I know a lot of your topic was around strategic thought and strategic planning, but you asked us to take away a few things. I'm one of the sales leaders at Shepard, and we always teach the basic sales approach that your customers have to know, like, and trust you. That gets you to the dance floor. But what really books the business is when you listen to their needs and can deliver solutions. So I know you spoke directly to me. Thank you, Joanne. And then for Chris, who will be our incoming president next year on the strategy side, the PCMA Southeast Board of Directors, we spend a lot of time trying to create what the dream is for the industry and for all of you, so we can deliver it to you. So I think you probably spoke to all of us in the room, and we appreciate you being here. On your way out, I know Joanne asked you to not eat your cake, so enjoy your cake. But on the way out, if you stop at the table, there are stickers for your parking passes, so you'll have complimentary parking taken care of. And yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Joanne said if anyone would like more information on her session today, to jot your name on a card and leave it with her. Oh, articles. If you want more articles, she'll send them to you. If you leave your name and email address and a card with her.
Make sure you fill out your surveys and the board positions vote on your table if you have a copy.
Yes, please. Aside from that, thank you all, and we appreciate you coming out here today. Thank you.